Imagine a life condensed into a fleeting flash of brilliance, a life that burned with the intensity of 1,000 suns. Giovanni Battista Pergolesi, a name synonymous with the Italian Baroque, whose genius resonates centuries after his untimely demise. Born in the 17th century, Pergolesi's life was tragically cut short at 26, yet he gifted the world with a musical treasure trove. His operas, bursting with raw emotion, captivated audiences and redefined the operatic landscape. Pergolesi's sacred music, imbued with profound spirituality, became timeless masterpieces. His story is one of extraordinary talent and a legacy that continues to inspire. Giovanni Battista Pergolesi was born in Yesai, Italy on January 4, 1710. His early life is shrouded in time with fragmented records and anecdotal accounts. Pergolesi's musical talent manifested early. His family recognized his gift and nurtured his abilities.
Young Pergolesi's early musical education took place in Jesi. My talent and dedication quickly became apparent.
Drawn by opportunity, Pergolesi's family sent him to Naples. Naples was a hub of artistic innovation. Here, Pergolesi's musical journey truly began. Naples in the 18th century was a city brimming with musical energy. Opera houses flourished, street musicians filled the air with vibrant melodies.
Enrolled at the Conservatorio dei Poveri di Gesù Cristo, Pergolesi studied under masters like Gaetano Greco and Francesco Durante.
Naples itself served as an open-air classroom for Pergolesi. The city's streets throbbed with a rich tapestry of musical styles. His time in Naples shaped his musical voice and set the stage for his rise to prominence. Although Pergolesi's life was tragically cut short, his impact on music was profound. He composed operas, sacred music, concertos and sonatas. His compositions captivated audiences and left an indelible mark on 18th century Europe.
One of Pergolesi's enduring legacies is his opera La Serva Padrona. This work became a sensation throughout Europe.
While the precise details of Pergolesi's early musical experiences remain shrouded in some obscurity, what is certain is that the seeds of his extraordinary talent were sown in the fertile ground of Jesi.
It was here, amidst the rolling hills and sun-drenched vineyards of the marsh region, that I first encountered the transformative power of music.
The Pergolesi family, though not blessed with great wealth, possessed a deep appreciation for the arts.
My father, an administrator of modest means, recognized the spark of genius in me and sought to nurture my burgeoning musical abilities.
While resources were limited in their provincial town, young Pergolesi's talent was undeniable.
Local musicians and church organists became my earliest mentors, guiding my eager hands across keyboards and introducing me to the fundamentals of music theory.
The young Pergolesi, a quick study with a thirst for knowledge, absorbed these lessons readily, his natural aptitude blossoming under their tutelage.
I immersed myself in the world of sound, my days filled with practicing scales, studying scores by candlelight, and listening intently to the music that swirled around me.
Word of the young prodigy from Jesi began to spread beyond the confines of his hometown, carried on the whispers of impressed locals and traveling musicians.
Pergolesi's reputation as a gifted violinist and a promising composer reached the ears of influential figures in nearby cities, piquing their curiosity.
Among those who recognized Pergolesi's extraordinary potential was a nobleman from Jesi who had close ties to Naples, a city renowned throughout Europe as a thriving center of music and culture.
Recognizing that the young musician's talents deserved a grander stage, the nobleman offered to sponsor Pergolesi's education at one of Naples' prestigious music conservatories.
For the Pergolesi family, this presented a momentous opportunity, a chance to provide their gifted son with the training and connections he needed to flourish.
Yet it also meant bidding farewell to their beloved son, sending him off to a bustling metropolis far from the familiar comforts of home.
With a mix of trepidation and hope, they entrusted Pergolesi's future to the bustling streets of Naples, a city that would shape his destiny in profound ways. Arriving in Naples as a teenager, Pergolesi found himself immersed in a world of sensory overload.
Gone were the quiet rhythms of provincial life, replaced by the cacophony of a bustling metropolis teeming with street vendors, musicians, and the clatter of horse-drawn carriages.
Naples was a city that vibrated with life. a melting pot of cultures where music spilled out from every doorway and alleyway.
The Conservatorio dei Poveri di Jesucristo, where I would spend my formative years, was a world unto itself.
Within its walls, talented young musicians from across the Kingdom of Naples gathered to hone their skills under the tutelage of renowned maestros.
Competition was fierce, the standards exacting, and the pressure to excel immense.
Pergolesi, however, thrived in this demanding environment.
I immersed myself in my studies, my days consumed by lessons in counterpoint, harmony, and composition.
He devoured scores by Italian masters such as Vivaldi, Scarlatti, and Handel, each note a brushstroke painting vivid soundscapes in his imagination.
My fellow students, recognizing my prodigious talent, dubbed me Il Maestro dei Maestri, the Master of Masters, a testament to my burgeoning abilities.
Within the competitive world of 18th century Naples, talent alone was often insufficient to secure success. Patronage, the system by which wealthy individuals or institutions provided financial and social support to artists, played a pivotal role in shaping the careers of aspiring musicians.
Pergolesi, despite his growing reputation, was not immune to the vagaries of this system. Fortunately, his talent did not go unnoticed. Among his early patrons was the prominent Colonna family, who recognized his potential and provided him with crucial support.
Their backing opened doors to commissions and performance opportunities that allowed Pergolesi to showcase his abilities to a wider audience. In 1731, at the tender age of 21, Pergolesi achieved his first significant triumph with the premiere of his opera Salustio at the Teatro San Bartolomeo in Naples.
The opera, a tale of love, betrayal, and political intrigue, was well received by audiences and critics alike, establishing Pergolesi as a rising star in the operatic firmament. Yet, despite this early success, Pergolesi's path was not without its challenges.
The fickle nature of public taste, the shifting alliances of patrons, and the ever-present spectre of illness cast a shadow over his burgeoning career. As Pergolesi navigated the complexities of the Neapolitan music scene, his personal life was touched by both joy and sorrow. In 1732, he fell deeply in love with Maria Spinelli, the daughter of a prominent Neapolitan family.
Their love story, however, was to be tragically short-lived. Maria's family, disapproving of the match, forced their separation. Heartbroken, Pergolesi poured his grief and longing into his music.
His compositions from this period, imbued with a newfound emotional depth and maturity, reveal a composer wrestling with themes of love, loss, and the fragility of human existence. It was during this time that he began work on what would become one of his most enduring masterpieces, the Stabat Mater.
Composed in 1736, the Stabat Mater is a setting of a 13th century poem that meditates on the suffering of the Virgin Mary as she witnesses the crucifixion of Christ. Pergolesi's music, with its haunting melodies, poignant harmonies, and heart-wrenching beauty, captures the raw emotion of the text with breathtaking power.
The work transcended the realm of liturgical music, resonating with audiences on a deeply personal level, and solidifying Pergolesi's reputation as a master of sacred music. Despite his frail health and the emotional turmoil in his personal life, Pergolesi's creative output continued unabated. In 1733, he achieved a major breakthrough with the premiere of his intermezzo, La Serva Padrona, the servant-turned-mistress.
This two-act comic opera, originally performed during the intermissions of a larger opera seria, quickly became a sensation. With its light-hearted plot, witty libretto, and sparkling melodies, La Serva Padrona captivated audiences across Italy and beyond.
The opera's success transcended its modest origins, sparking a debate about the nature of opera itself. Its emphasis on everyday characters, relatable situations, and musical directness challenged the conventions of the prevailing opera seria, which often featured mythological or historical figures and elaborate musical numbers.
La Serva Padrona marked a turning point in Pergolesi's career, establishing him as a leading figure in the development of comic opera. Its success spread throughout Europe, with performances in Paris, London, and Vienna, cementing Pergolesi's international reputation.
The opera's enduring popularity is a testament to its timeless appeal. its blend of humor, wit, and musical charm continuing to delight audiences centuries after its creation. It was a triumph that solidified Pergolesi's place in musical history, but sadly, it was a triumph he would not live long to enjoy. The news of Pergolesi's death on March 16, 1736, sent shockwaves through Naples. He was just 26 years old, his life and career tragically cut short by tuberculosis. The city that had nurtured his talent and celebrated his triumphs now mourned the loss of a true prodigy.
Yet, even in death, Pergolesi's star continued to rise, his music taking on a poignant new significance. His final work, the Stabat Mater, commissioned for the Confraternita dei Cavalieri di San Luigi di Palazzo, took on an almost mythical aura. Composed in the shadow of his own mortality, the work's themes of suffering, loss, and redemption resonated with a depth and intensity that transcended the liturgical context. It became Pergolesi's most enduring composition, performed at funerals and memorial services across Europe.
Despite the brevity of his career, Pergolesi left behind a musical legacy that belied his short time on earth. His operas, both comic and serious, helped to redefine the genre, injecting it with a new level of emotional realism and musical dynamism. His sacred music, imbued with both operatic flair and spiritual depth, transcended the confines of the church to touch the hearts of listeners across social divides. La Serva Padrona, Pergolesi's most celebrated comic opera, is a testament to his ability to blend humor, wit, and musical charm into a work of enduring appeal. Premiering in 1733, the opera's light-hearted plot, relatable characters, and catchy melodies quickly won over audiences, establishing it as a cornerstone of the opera buffa repertoire.
The story revolves around Serpina, a cunning maidservant, and Uberto, her wealthy and somewhat gullible master. Through a series of clever schemes and disguises, Serpina manipulates Uberto into falling in love with her, ultimately securing her position as the mistress of the house. Pergolesi's music perfectly captures the opera's playful spirit, with sparkling arias, lively duets, and moments of tender emotion.
La Serva Padrona is notable for its brevity and its focus on everyday characters and situations. Unlike the grand operas of the time, which often dealt with mythological or historical subjects, Pergolesi's intermezzo presented a slice of domestic life, albeit one infused with comedic exaggeration. This emphasis on realism and relatable characters, coupled with Pergolesi's gift for melody, ensured the opera's lasting popularity. In stark contrast to the light-hearted charm of La Serva Padrona, Pergolesi's Stabat Mater stands as a profound expression of human suffering and spiritual devotion. Composed in the final months of his life, the work is a setting of a 13th century Latin poem that meditates on the sorrows of the Virgin Mary as she witnesses the crucifixion of Christ.
Pergolesi's music, scored for 2 vocal soloists and a small orchestra, is a masterpiece of emotional intensity and contrapuntal mastery. The work's opening movement, Stabat Mater Dolorosa, plunges the listener into a world of grief and sorrow, the soprano and alto voices intertwining in a haunting duet that evokes the Virgin's anguish.
While Pergolesi is primarily known for his operas and sacred music, his instrumental compositions reveal another facet of his genius.
Among his most notable instrumental works are his concertos, particularly the Flute Concerto in G major. This concerto, with its lively first movement, its lyrical slow movement, and its virtuosic finale, exemplifies Pergolesi's ability to write idiomatically for the flute, exploiting the instrument's agility and expressive range.
Pergolesi also composed a number of sonatas for various instruments, including violin, cello, and harpsichord.
While often overshadowed by his vocal works, Pergolesi's instrumental compositions offer a glimpse into the breadth of his musical imagination and his mastery of diverse musical forms.
Pergolesi's influence on the development of opera, particularly opera buffa, was profound and far-reaching. His La Serva Padrona, with its emphasis on everyday characters, relatable situations, and musical directness, helped to pave the way for a new style of comic opera that would flourish throughout the 18th century.
Prior to Pergolesi, comic intermezzi were typically performed during the intermissions of serious operas, serving as light-hearted diversions from the main dramatic action. However, the success of La Serva Padrona challenged this hierarchy, demonstrating that comic opera could stand on its own merits as a legitimate and engaging art form.
Pergolesi's sacred music, though written for the church, transcended its liturgical origins to become an integral part of the concert repertoire. Works like the Stabat Mater, the Salve Regina, and the Miserere captivated audiences with their emotional intensity, their melodic beauty, and their spiritual depth.
The Stabat Mater, in particular, achieved a level of popularity that extended far beyond the confines of the church. It was performed at concerts, in private salons, and even at Masonic lodges, its universal themes of suffering, grief, and redemption resonating with listeners from all walks of life.
While Pergolesi's music never entirely faded from view after his death, it experienced a significant resurgence in popularity during the 19th and 20th century.
This revival was fueled in part by a renewed interest in Baroque and early classical music, as well as by the rediscovery of some of Pergolesi's lesser-known works.
Composers such as Igor Stravinsky and Benjamin Britten paid homage to Pergolesi by incorporating elements of his music into their own compositions.
The 20th century also saw a surge in recordings of Pergolesi's music, making his works more accessible to a wider audience than ever before.
More than 2 centuries after his death, Giovanni Battista Pergolesi's music continues to resonate with audiences around the world.
His sacred music, imbued with both operatic flair and spiritual weight, retains its power to inspire and console listeners. His operas, with their blend of humor, wit, and emotional depth, continue to delight and move theatergoers.
Pergolesi's enduring legacy lies not only in the beauty and craftsmanship of his music, but also in his ability to connect with listeners on a deeply human level.
His works, whether comic or tragic, sacred or secular, speak to universal themes of love, loss, hope, and redemption.
To truly appreciate Pergolesi's genius, one must delve into the intricate details of his musical language.
His scores, whether for the operatic stage or the church sanctuary, reveal a composer who understood the power of simplicity, elegance, and direct emotional expression. Unlike some of his contemporaries who reveled in complex counterpoint and elaborate ornamentation, Pergolesi possessed an innate ability to convey a world of emotion with a single, perfectly placed phrase.
His melodies, often described as natural and flowing, seem to spring effortlessly from the soul.
Pergolesi understood the importance of matching music to text, ensuring that his melodies enhanced and illuminated the emotional nuances of the words they carried.
La Serva Padrona, with its enduring popularity and influence, stands as a testament to Pergolesi's innovative approach to comic opera.
In this seemingly simple work, Pergolesi crafted a musical and theatrical experience that broke new ground, challenging conventions and paving the way for the future of opera buffa.
One of the most striking aspects of La Serva Padrona is its brevity. Unlike the sprawling opera seria of the time, which often lasted for several hours, Pergolesi's intermezzo clocks in at a brisk hour or so.
This concise format, perfectly suited to the work's light-hearted subject matter, allowed for a tighter dramatic structure and a more focused exploration of character.
If La Serva Padrona showcases Pergolesi's mastery of comic opera, his Stabat Mater reveals the depth of his spiritual and emotional range.
This profoundly moving work, composed in the shadow of his own mortality, is a testament to the power of music to express the full spectrum of human experience, from the depths of despair to the heights of spiritual transcendence.
Pergolesi's setting of the Stabat Mater text is remarkable for its emotional intensity and its dramatic flair. He utilizes a wide range of musical devices to convey the anguish of the Virgin Mary as she witnesses the crucifixion of Christ. from poignant dissonances and chromatic harmonies to soaring melodic lines that seem to reach towards heaven.
Yet, despite its moments of profound sorrow, the Stabat Mater is not a work of unremitting darkness.
Beneath the surface beauty of Pergolesi's melodies lies a sophisticated understanding of harmony and counterpoint.
While his music often appears simple and straightforward, a closer examination reveals a composer who was a master of his craft, capable of creating complex and nuanced musical textures.
Pergolesi's harmonic language, while rooted in the Baroque tradition, often hinted at the emerging classical style. He employed dissonance and chromaticism sparingly, using these devices for expressive effect rather than as mere displays of technical prowess.
His harmonic progressions often create a sense of forward momentum, leading the listener effortlessly from one musical idea to the next.
Pergolesi's genius extended beyond the realm of pure music.
He possessed a keen understanding of the theater, an innate ability to translate dramatic situations into compelling musical experiences. His operas, in particular, are notable for their theatrical vibrancy, their seamless integration of music, drama, and spectacle.
Pergolesi's operas are filled with moments of dramatic contrast, from light-hearted comedic interludes to scenes of intense emotional drama.
Furthermore, Pergolesi's vocal writing reveals a composer who understood the human voice intimately.
Pergolesi's untimely death at the age of 26 robbed the world of a musical genius in his prime.
Yet despite his short career, his impact on the development of Western music was profound and far-reaching. His influence can be felt most strongly in the transition from the Baroque era to the Classical period, a time of great stylistic upheaval and innovation.
Pergolesi's emphasis on clarity, balance, and emotional directness in his music foreshadowed the aesthetic ideals of the Classical era. While Pergolesi's music never entirely faded from view after his death, the 20th century witnessed a remarkable resurgence of interest in his work.
This revival was fueled in part by a renewed appreciation for Baroque and early classical music, as well as by the discovery of previously unknown Pergolesi manuscripts.
Conductors such as Arturo Toscanini and Leopold Stokowski championed Pergolesi's music, bringing it to new audiences through their acclaimed recordings and performances.
Composers of the 20th and 21st centuries have also found inspiration in Pergolesi's music.
Giovanni Battista Pergolesi's life may have been tragically cut short, but his musical legacy continues to inspire and resonate with audiences centuries after his death.
His operas, with their blend of humor, wit, and emotional depth, remain staples of the operatic repertoire, while his sacred music continues to move listeners with its spiritual weight and its timeless beauty.
Pergolesi's enduring appeal lies in his ability to connect with listeners on a deeply human level.
His melodies, seemingly simple yet profoundly affecting, linger in the mind long after the final note has faded.
Giovanni Battista Pergolesi's life, though tragically brief, unfolded like a brilliant meteor streaking across the night sky.
His operas, both comic and serious, captivated audiences with their wit, charm, and emotional depth, while his sacred music, infused with both operatic flair and spiritual weight, transcended the confines of the church to touch the hearts of listeners across social divides.
Pergolesi's story is one of extraordinary talent, ambition, and resilience. Born into modest circumstances in the Italian countryside, he rose to prominence in the fiercely competitive world of 18th century Naples, a city teeming with musical energy and fueled by the patronage system.
His untimely death in 1736, at the height of his creative powers, robbed the world of a musical genius in his prime, leaving behind a legacy that continues to unfold and inspire centuries later.
In the ever-evolving landscape of musical tastes and trends, Pergolesi's music retains a remarkable freshness and immediacy. His operas, with their blend of wit, charm, and emotional depth, continued to delight audiences in opera houses and concert halls around the world.
His sacred music, imbued with both operatic flair and spiritual weight, retains its power to inspire and console listeners, transcending the boundaries of time and place.
What accounts for the enduring relevance of Pergolesi's music? One key factor is his ability to connect with listeners on a deeply human level. His works, whether comic or tragic, sacred or secular, speak to universal themes of love, loss, hope and redemption, themes that resonate as strongly today as they did in 18th century Italy.
Furthermore, Pergolesi's music possesses a timeless beauty and elegance that transcends the stylistic conventions of any particular era. His melodies, seemingly simple yet profoundly affecting, linger in the mind long after the final note has faded.
His harmonies, while rooted in the Baroque tradition, often hint at the emerging classical style, creating a sense of balance and clarity that continues to appeal to modern ears. Beyond La Serva Padrona, exploring Pergolesi's diverse repertoire. While La Serva Padrona remains Pergolesi's most widely performed work, his musical legacy extends far beyond this delightful comic opera.
His diverse output encompasses a wide range of genres, each showcasing different facets of his musical personality and his mastery of different musical forms. His operas, seria, such as Adriano in Syria and L'Olympiade, though less frequently performed than La Serva Padrona, reveal Pergolesi's ability to handle grand dramatic themes with emotional depth and musical sophistication.
These works, with their lyrical arias, dramatic recitatives, and powerful choruses, offer a glimpse into the world of 18th century Italian opera at its most ambitious.
Pergolesi's sacred music, too, deserves wider recognition. Works like the Stabat Mater, the Salve Regina, and the Miserere are not mere liturgical exercises, but rather profound expressions of faith, grief, and spiritual longing. In these compositions, Pergolesi's gift for melody and his understanding of human emotion combine to create music of extraordinary power and beauty.
Pergolesi's enduring influence on music and theatre. Pergolesi's influence on the development of Western music, though often subtle and indirect, is undeniable.
His emphasis on clarity, balance, and emotional directness in his music foreshadowed the aesthetic ideals of the classical era, paving the way for the innovations of Haydn, Mozart, and Beethoven. His operas, particularly La Serva Padrona, had a profound impact on the development of opera buffa, a genre that would flourish throughout the 18th century and beyond.
Composers such as Giovanni Paisiello, Domenico Cimarosa, and even Mozart drew inspiration from Pergolesi's model, developing the conventions of opera buffa into a rich and varied genre.
Beyond the realm of opera, Pergolesi's influence can be felt in the instrumental music of the classical era. His concertos, sonatas, and other instrumental works, with their elegant melodies, balanced forms, and innovative use of harmony, provided a model for composers such as Johann Christian Bach and Luigi Boccherini.
A bridge between eras. Pergolesi's place in music history. Giovanni Battista. Pergolesi occupies a unique and pivotal position in the history of Western music.
Born during the late Baroque period, he absorbed the stylistic conventions of that era, with its emphasis on contrapuntal complexity and elaborate ornamentation. Yet, in his own music, Pergolesi often hinted at the emerging classical style, with its focus on clarity, balance, and emotional restraint.
Pergolesi's operas in particular straddle the line between the Baroque and the classical. His operas seria, with their grand dramatic themes and their emphasis on vocal virtuosity, owe a clear debt to the Baroque tradition. However, his opera buffa, La Serva Padrona, with its focus on everyday characters, its relatable situations, and its emphasis on musical directness, points towards the future of opera.
Pergolesi's ability to synthesize these seemingly disparate stylistic elements into a coherent and compelling musical language is a testament to his genius. He was a composer who stood at a crossroads in music history, bridging the gap between the old and the new, and his music continues to resonate with audiences today because of its unique blend of tradition and innovation.
keeping the flame alive, ensuring Pergolesi's music endures. Giovanni Battista Pergolesi left behind a rich and varied musical legacy.
Ensuring this legacy thrives requires effort from musicians, scholars, and music lovers. Performing his music is crucial. Many of Pergolesi's works are less frequently heard. Encouraging performances of these works is essential.
Scholars' research deepens our understanding of his music. Their work ensures authentic performances.
Music lovers can keep Pergolesi's flame alive by experiencing his music